Salve discipule. Today we're going to talk about the noun cases, and we're adding on two cases really, but focusing on the accusative case as well. But we really haven't talked about it in a while, so let's go back and review. Noun cases can be divided into groups. Those groups are called declensions. We have seen three declensions, namely, VIZ is Latin for vide licet, namely, first, second, and third. Sorry. I have to figure out how to change these boxes on my Chromebook. It's not so easy on my Chromebook. Sorry, guys. Nouns in the same declension have similar endings. Okay, and the endings are going to be really important. Latin nouns are also divided into something called cases. And cases are indicated by the declension and the ending of the noun. Cases determine what job a noun has in the sentence. So, let's go a little further and discuss about that. Noun endings or cases indicate what job the word has in a sentence. The jobs we've seen in our Latin sentences so far are subjects, the noun or nouns that do the action of the sentence. The boy walks. The boy is the subject of the sentence. The noun that receives the action of the verb is called a direct object. Okay. Got that longer. And the noun that completes the meaning of the prepositions in a prepositional phrase is an object of a preposition. And I'm going to be abbreviating a lot in this. I'll be abbreviating direct object as DO. I'll be abbreviating object of preposition as OP. But direct object, so the boy sees the girl. Who's the one that's actually being seen? Who's receiving the action of the verb? That's the girl. That is your direct object. The boy sees the girl in a field. Well, in is a preposition. It shows a relationship between nouns. It shows us where the girl is. So in a field is the object of the preposition. So in Latin, the cases are going to be the different endings that are associated with these jobs in the sentence. So let's look at a chart. You're going to fill in the ones that don't have long marks. Nominative singular, so subjects, A, AE, US, or sometimes are, but not the same time. And then I filled in the rest, long mark. This one means, the smiley face means that this varies, that it can be lots of different words, and it's the word itself that has the case. We don't have an ending. That's one ending for that. The accusative singular can be either direct object or an object of a preposition. AM, AS, UM, OS, EM, ES. And then ablative is only going to be used with certain prepositions at this point. Long A, IS, O, IS, and then a short E. So we've had songs for this. A, E, it is the first. Us or RI is second. Third singular varies wide. ES on the plural side. Now you know nominative rhyme, used for subjects all the time. That's your nominative song. Now you're so lucky you get an accusative song too. AM, AS, UM, OS, EM, ES. Accusative case. I'll do that one more time. AM, AS, UM, OS, EM, ES. Accusative case. And at this point, ablative, I'm not going to do the song. We've really only had the singular endings in our set stories anyways. Long A, O, and E, it's the ablative, long A, O, and E. That's one that somebody came up with last year. You can use it or not, but those are just for the singulars. The plurals you'll see as we come along. So let's just look at these with actual words associated to them. So these are the same endings, and the nominative words are going to be mostly subjects. Accusative words are going to be either direct objects or objects of a preposition. How will you know the difference? Objects of preposition are going to have a preposition in front of them. Direct objects will be in the accusative case, but will not have a preposition in front of them. And then ablatives are always, at this point, going to be objects of prepositions. So with the girl and by the lion would be prepositions, it should say. So now we're going to start looking at what cases they are. That's what we're going to fill in, the cases and numbers. The case, nominative, accusative, or ablative, and number in this case is singular or plural. And then in the orange boxes, we're going to put the meanings, okay? So, leones servos in arena non petiverunt. All right, the leones is a nominative plural. And if you're wondering how I can tell the difference between a nominative and accusative singular plurals because they look alike, well, just look at the next word, os. This has to be accusative because that's its only choice. This servos is a second declension word. Os is accusative plural for second declension. Therefore, if I have an accusative plural with no preposition that has to be a direct object, that is going to make the other word in the sentence that could be nominative or accusative, it's going to bump it to nominative, process of elimination. So it's the lions doing something to the slaves, we know from just these two words. In arena, now we have a prepositional phrase that's showing us an ablative singular, and we know where it's happening. Known, okay, we know it's not happening. Petiverunt, that's the verb. So the nominative is the subject, so the lions. Then in English, we use the verb next. We say headed for, attacked. And then we go to our direct object, the slaves, and we can tell it's a direct object because it has that os ending, which is accusative plural. And in the arena is where they are. So the lions headed for the slave. Oh, wait, they didn't. Sorry, known. The lions did not head for the slaves in the arena. Okay. Next one, ancilla gladium in pede vidit. Ancilla has the A ending. The A ending is the nominative singular ending for first declension. Okay. And ancilla is therefore our nominative singular and subject because there's no other choice for it right now. Gladium is a second declension accusative singular ending. So accusative singular, no preposition in front of it. It's not with a sword. It's not in a sword. It's just sword. So we know the slave woman is going to do something to a sword based on this. And then in pede, well, now we know where because in is a preposition. And pede is our ablative singular. Okay. And then vidit, now we know what happened. She saw the sword, and that's our verb. So the slave woman saw the sword in the foot. Maybe it's her foot, maybe it's somebody else's foot. We don't have enough information in one sentence to tell. Okay. So now we have to have these subjects right at the beginning of sentences, but they don't have to be. And in fact, in Latin, you could really mix this all up and it would still mean the same thing. So I didn't quite mix it all up yet, but I did put our prepositional phrase first to give a little bit of an idea of what you could see. So per portas, Pairs of preposition, through. Portas are gates, and so this as ending is a first declension accusative plural ending. It's being done because pair is going to be followed by the accusative. So this is an object of a preposition. Okay. Nuntius is the second declension nominative singular. So nominative singular, and it looks like it's probably a subject. We'll have to wait. So through the gates, a messenger. Oh, something with a city in the accusative singular. That is a third declension accusative singular ending. So we're thinking that the messenger, something's a city. Oh, then now we know what it is. Intrawit, he entered. So, and you can put this as through the gates, the messenger entered the city, or you can put it in kind of more standard English word order, which is fine. I don't care. I'm going to put it in standard. The messenger entered the city through the gates. Okay. The lions were chasing the merchants. This is one of those times when we're going to guess based on context and also a little bit of word order. It tends to be that the subjects come before the direct objects. It doesn't have to be, but it tends to be. But also, let's think about it. Merchants aren't exactly gladiators. It's probably the lions that are hunting the merchants and not the other way around. So leones, es, is a third declension, in this case, nominative plural, based on our logic. And mercatores is a third declension accusative plural, based on our logic, which means that leones mercatores agatabant, the lions were chasing or were hunting the merchants. Okay, so let's just go through and see how this helps us. The es nominative plural here tells us both that a lion is doing something, it's a subject. Oh, lions, it tells us that it's also plural. So lions are the subject of the sentence. Os tells us that it's accusative plural, which tells us that there are slaves, plural, and also that they are receiving the action of the verb. Ablative singular in this case is indicating that it's an object of this preposition in. So sometimes when Latin is getting tricky, it'll even separate your prepositions from your nouns, and you'll have to look at the ending to figure out what it goes with. Luckily, you won't see too many of those yet, but you will see sentences without subjects where you only have a direct object, so endings are important, or you're not going to know who is doing the action of the verb. Okay? So ancilla gladium impede vidit, subject, direct object, object of a preposition, verb, and in is the preposition. Pair is the preposition in number 3. Direct object of the preposition, because it's pair plus, and pair just happens to take the accusative. Some prepositions take accusative, some take ablative. Nuntius is your nominative, so it's our subject. That means we know the messenger is doing something. And then urbem is the accusative, so it doesn't have a prep, it's a direct object. We know the messenger entered the city. Okay. Leones is our nominative subject, mercatores is our accusative, plural, direct object, and we only have the verb, no prepositional phrase in this one. Read through the notes a few times on your own. Start singing the songs and memorizing the endings. And read Latin that is from the earlier chapters. Go back and see if you can find some earlier Latin sentences and see if you can just start to notice what are subjects, what are direct objects, what are prepositions, what are prepositional phrases, and what cases are they taking. Look at our stories from stage 8 and really take notice of what are the subjects, direct objects, objects of prepositions, and what do the endings look like. And the other thing that you can start to do is know what nouns are always having first declension endings, what nouns are always having second declension endings, and what nouns are always having third declension endings. And you're going to see that they don't switch back and forth, or if they do switch between first and second, it indicates a switch in gender. So first declension is mostly feminine, Second declension with these endings is mostly masculine. Okay, third declension, it's anything goes. Thank you.